Hey guys, this is Joel from the Castle Pokemon Gym, and I don't feel any hesitation in saying that Destined Rivals is the best set of the new Scarlet and Violet EX generation, especially in terms of playability, as it comes with straightforward, kind of pre-packaged ideas that are all very competitive. Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX has had immediate impact. Rocket's Mewtwo and Spidops, either as one thing or even as separate things, are both great. Cynthia's Garchomp, while being played wrong at the moment, and maybe I'll get to that in the next video, is very good. Ethan's Typhlosion is strong. Ho-Oh EX has several interesting variants, and there are still others that players here have not taken a look at yet. And with all of that said, there are still like 10 other EXs in the set that nobody is looking at. So that's where I step in. And I will say this, I'm probably going to stop testing new ideas online, because apparently there's an army of content seekers out there that constantly are on the hunt for ideas to post, and the deck I was going to feature today mysteriously showed up on a website 2 days after I played it online during one session for only probably 3 or 4 games. But it showed up card for card, so you're welcome for that freebie. And again, I don't mind sharing, that's the point of my channel, but dang man. If you see it here or online and want to do something with it, just say where you got it from. It's just common courtesy. But anyway, so I just moved on to my next idea, which is the nice thing about the catalog of things that I'm always building online, is I've got a ton of them, many of which I'll never get to. But that idea is an old engine that works around Lapras EX that I just changed to include the new Electivire EX. Now my first deck was just a straight up Lapras deck, which was fun, but too fragile, especially with its metal weakness, the presence of Origin Form Dialga at the time, and then Zacian after that. So I shifted it to Mewtwo EX, and not talking about the new one, the old Electric Terra-type Mewtwo EX. It's not old, but older, I guess. Which is very comparable to this list. It's not card for card, but it's close. But I can't think of the last time we got a good Electivire card, and from one dude with a cool beard to another, I thought it would be a crime to ignore this Electivire EX. Now onto the card. Electivire EX is a Stage 1, 280 HP Lightning type with 2 attacks, there are no abilities. He is weak to fighting and has that large 4 energy retreat cost, which actually is a bonus in this, and we'll see that shortly. Both attacks are very relevant, as one often sets up the other. The first attack is called Dual Bolt. For 1 lightning and 1 colorless energy, it does 50 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. If you think I am on a mission on my last 2 videos to force you to play Shaman, then yes, you've discovered my secret plan to release a catalog of snipe decks, then buy up all of the Shamans and hoard them so no one is safe. Except I haven't bought any yet, and don't have the money to, and now I've just told you, so plan failed. But anyway, Electivire's second attack is called High Voltage Press. For 2 lightning energies and 1 colorless, it does 180 damage, and if Electivire has 2 additional energies attached beyond the attack cost, then Press does 100 more damage, making it hit 280 damage. That may seem like an implausible idea, that is where Lapras comes in. Now, Lapras EX sports the attack Larimar Rain, that lets you look at the top 20 cards of your deck and attach as many energy cards of any persuasion to your Pokemon however you want to. And don't forget about Power Splash, which does 40 damage for each energy attached to Lapras EX. He really is a setup guy with that second attack, but he can function as a backup attacker also. Now this deck is as simple as they come. As you can see, it uses the Noctowl engine to help you get a quick Lapras EX with Crispin and the A-Spec. Then you just swing away with Electivire EX. Much like the Mewtwo EX deck when I used to play it, after a few turns, there's really not much else to do other than just attack. Because hopefully at that point you're just overwhelming your opponent, and at least online, it usually results in a concede before you ever really get to the end of a game. Now looking at the Pokemon, there are 3 Lapras EX, there's a 3-3 line of Electivire EX, and also a 3-3 line of Noctowl. There is a single Ditto that you can search with Rotom, and then swap with a Lapras EX via its ability Transformative Start, as in any of these Noctowl driven decks, Your first search is always for a Rotom that you can set up from there, and you'll see that shortly in the gameplay if you don't understand exactly what I'm talking about. Now, looking at the item and tool cards, these are all here to let you get that knockdown game set up, and then you can get your Electivire line with the Nest and Ultra Balls. I have one heavy baton here which you can use on Electivire because of that 4 energy retreat cost, and that allows you to salvage 3 of his energy if he gets knocked out. Sticking with the tools, you see I've got a rescue board there for whoever you need to use that on, and then of course there's the A-Spec Sparkling Crystal, which lets Lapras use its rain attack for just 2 energies, which you can charge in 1 turn with Crispin. Speaking of Crispin, you can see there's a very shallow supporter line here because you are just searching at what you need with the Noctowl. It's just 2 Crispin, 2 Iono, and 2 Boss's Orders. I've got 1 Artisan in here that you can use early to set up, especially since I like the Buzz is too big to get with Poffin. Or you can save it to knock out a pesky stadium later in the game like Jamming Tower. And back to the main list, last but not least, there are 19 energy here, including 3 spiky energy, which can help you against stage 2s as they take 20 for each one when they attack you, making that 280 from Electivire climb to as much as 340 depending on how many you have on one Electivire. Now all of this is just easier to demonstrate than it is to talk about. I love decks like this. They are great league decks, they're great for locals, and they are great in the junior division where a lot of players don't really know decks outside of the meta that their parents or their older siblings look up and teach them. Our kids took stuff like this to events all the time and would clean up with them. And as funny as it was to see the reactions of their opponents, it was always much more interesting to see their parents lose their poop when their kid told them they lost to something like this, because nothing says good times like watching a grown adult virtue signaler yell at and berate their child because they didn't win in Pokemon. But enough of that, let's watch this deck work. So this first match is against Dragapult EX. I don't like to just show these all the time, but I do like to get a match in when I can, because it is the most played deck in the format at the moment. You see I got a double Hoot start. I'm going to Puff and just get that Rotom, and I'm going to use Rotom to get 2 Noctowl into my hand. I'll get a Ditto I can just throw away, pass my turn. They get a Hawlucha down and actually get 10 on both Hoot, which could be dangerous in this matchup, but I'm going to evolve at least one of them, maybe both of them, so I'm not super worried about that. We'll use our first Jewel Seeker and try to get that Crispin and A-Spec. And A-Spec is actually prized, so I have to pass on that. I get a Nest Ball instead. I can still charge the Lapras because I did get water energy attached on my first turn. So I'd have to attach all 3 energies to Lapras to do the Larimar Rain. We use Nest Ball to get, like the Buzz. And really don't want to always have to do this, but I kind of want to go ahead and get that Hoot Ball so it doesn't get picked off. Now I need to use Jewel Seeker to get Nest Ball so I can get down the other Electabuzz. So I've got 2 targets for my Lapras. Grab that and an Ultra Ball, and I will go ahead and Ultra Ball away Poffin, and I'll get rid of this Ditto. Can't use him after the first turn anyway, and get Electivire into my hand. And then it'll finally be time to Larimar Rain, and off of this we hit 7 energy, which is pretty good. Got 5 Lightning, a Spiky, and a Psychic. I like to always just attach the Lightning first just to make sure I have enough where I need it to be. Get 3 on one, 2 on the other. I'll put the Spiky on the first one and Psychic on the second one. Then pass back to them. They continue that slow evolution and development of their deck where they just evolve all 3 to Dracloak, attach an energy to the bench, and pass back to me. So I'm going to evolve the already ready Electivire into its stage and get that second Spiky energy down. I'm going to manually retreat that Lapras, try to keep that water energy on there so I can use him later if I need to. Then we'll just boss up the Dracloak with the energy. It seems to be the biggest weakness with this deck is if they fall behind on energy attachments. Sometimes they stay behind. I know they play Crispin and the same A-Spec I do. But we'll knock that one out and get Heavy Baton off of the prizes. They catch my Lapras back up and just punch him for 70s. They don't want to deal with my Electivire with the Spiky energy. So I'm going to attach for my turn to Lapras, and I do have to retreat both energies off of him. Lose that water energy, which is unfortunate. I'll get the Baton on Electivire, and I will hit him for 280, or if he hits me, he's going to knock himself out. They come up with Dragapult and they jet headbutt me to get 70 on my Electivire, but in the process, because of the 2 spiky, take 40 themselves. So he is automatically in range for me. Which means I'm not going to do much on this turn. I drew a water, I'm going to put that on Lapras. And then I'm just going to high voltage press and finish off that Dragapult and take 2 prizes. And from there we'll get a Lightning Energy and a Noctowl. They catch up my Electabuzz and hit me with Itchy Pollen. I get a switch, which I can't use because of the item lock, which kind of stinks. I'll attach to the Lapras, and I'm just going to Electro Slug, which I didn't even know the name of that attack until I used it, to knock out that Buddy and get another Lightning Energy. This time they catch up the Noctowl. They actually turret up that damaged Dragapult and tried to item lock me again. I'm just going to manually retreat the Noctowl. This gives me a good chance to use Dual Bolt. I can knock out Buddy in the active spot. And even though they refreshed that Dragapult and got an energy ready on him, he's still just a Dracloak. I got 50 on him before he could evolve. So he is set up to for me to take him out. They catch up the Lapras and try to set up some next turn knockouts, but it's just too little too late in this matchup. I come up with my Electivire and just high voltage press one more time. Thanks to the 50 I had on the turn before, I can finish him off and clean up that game. One of the reasons Dragapult is so popular at tournaments is because it takes a long time to play and allows you to play the clock instead of your opponent. But we'll move on to one against Hop's Zacian. I wanted to highlight this one because it just shows that really no matter how you start or what you start with, you can play into the ideal setup. See, I got Poffin and got Rotom and a Hoot Hoot down. Got Artisan in hand, which I only play one copy of that, so you don't see that super often. But I will use it since I have it. Get Electabuzz. I've got the one Electabuzz active and need to get him out of the way because Hop Zacian can take him out easily on the first turn. I'm going to use Fan Rotom, get a Hoot Hoot, 2 more Noctowl, get those guys down. Going to retreat into the Lapras, which is a little risky. If they take it out, that's game for them. We'll see what they can do. They do get to a Hop Zacian and are a stadium away from taking me out. They're able to do 180 to Lapras and get 30 on the Hoot Hoot. So survive that turn, it's going to be downhill for them from here. I evolve to my first Noctowl, and I'm going to use Jewel Seeker to get Crispin and my A-Spec Sparkling Crystal. Go ahead and play Crispin, get Water and Psychic, and we'll get both of those attached to the Lapras. And then we will attach the A-Spec Sparkling Crystal. And I'm going to go ahead and use the second Jewel Seeker. Probably could have just waited here. Just never really sure what to expect out of the Hop Zacian and what they're going to target. I got a Heavy Baton, another Ultra Ball. I'm going to get the Heavy Baton down on the Electabuzz, and then we're going to rain from Lapras. We'll get 7 energies again. Seems to be pretty standard. Sometimes you get a couple more than that, but 7 is definitely a good number. We'll get 3 lightning on the first Electabuzz and a spiky, and then we'll get the other 3, the water, the lightning, and the steel onto the second Electabuzz. On their turn, they do take out that Lapras and take the lead. I am going to kind of speed through things though, because really once this deck gets going, a big basic deck like Hop Zacian just cannot keep up with it. I get my first Electivire and knock out the Hop Zacian. Come back again, they've taken a hit from their Cramorant. They got another Zacian down. I'm just going to boss him up. So we'll be able to take out a second one and take 2 more prizes there from another high voltage press. Also keeping damage off the field so they can't really use the Monkey Dory. Get the lightning and the Hoot Hoot there. On this turn they send a Cramorant up. I'm going to be able to take him out with Dual Bolt. We'll hit the active for weakness, and I'll get 50 on a Blood Moon Ursaluna on the bench to get 1 more prize. They took out a Noctowl on the bench with the Monkey Dory and my Electivire. I still had another one ready to go. So I came up and just finished them off one more time and take out another Hop Zacian. Now I hope what was conveyed with these games is how consistent the deck is, and what the setup needs to look like, whether you get the Sparkling Crystal down, or you have to make some other plays to get that second turn Larimar Rain. From there, anything that can't one-hit Electivire X is going to struggle against it. Now, there are probably a few other decks that could fit him in as a tech or something, but I don't think there is a better option than using the Noctowl engine for the core. And maybe you can accomplish the same thing with Joltik and Electric Generator, but you have to admit that Lapras is a really cool way to do it. And that said, try out the Terra Mewtwo EX version I listed earlier in the video, because it is very fun to play as well. Now I hope you noticed in the corner of the matches that we have changed our name from Dark Moon Cards and Games to Dark Moon Japan, and you can see a little sneak peek of our new logos. As we grow our show business, we are separating ourselves a bit further from the people at Pokemon Seattle that have made getting sealed products harder than finding toilet paper during the pandemic. We still will have card singles at a lot of shows, but do not carry sealed English products anymore, as they drove us out of that market in favor of much larger game stores. We will continue to bring you cool, licensed products from Japan, but it does not make sense to advertise cards and games when, at least at some shows, we will have neither. As always, thanks for watching. Check out my podcast, Appalachian Dim Sum, if you haven't had the chance. Share my Pokemon videos with anyone who plays the game or that is interested in getting into it. Until next time, be not afraid. Later.